I am honored to be here. This is the beginning of, as most of you know, 6-year program. That's traditionally what you would go through in an Asian monastery. We're taking the very best, the highlights of Theravadan and Mahayana Buddhism and Tantric Buddhism, and putting the best of these things together, what you'd be studying in a monastery. You don't have to, unlike what I did, you don't have to become celibate. You don't have to take monastic vows. Our specialty is showing people how to bring these practices into their life and living in the world. How to have relationships, and that means intimacy and difficulties with children, difficulties with family, difficulties with life in general, aging, sickness, all of the above. And you're facing things that, frankly, if you're living as a monk or a nun in a monastery, you wouldn't have to face. So the challenge that you have, I think, is a beautiful challenge, and I'm honored to be a part of it. But it's how to bring these practices into your daily life. So that's where we are. And hopefully you're up for the challenge. You do not have to take this. You're free to be here. If you're not taking it for teacher training, you're free to audit. But this is about as holy and virtuous as work as there is. You are part of a tradition now that has been around for several thousand years. It's been handed down from teacher to student, and I'm sure I will make many errors over the next few years. Those are mine. My teachers are flawless. I was blessed, and you were blessed to be the recipient of that. But my teachers, from the Dalai Lama to the Karmapa, my Thai teachers, Burmese and Sri Lankan teachers, just bar none, the finest teachers available. And many of you have been with me for, some of you as long as 20 years. And we have a beautiful community. At this point, what's represented here tonight, the 60 or 70 people, are nothing compared to the thousands of people watching. So we are blessed to have this type of reach. So I'll be taking this rather seriously. For those of you who know me for a long time, probably be hearing a very serious, different side of things. I'll still be having lots of fun, but the seriousness level is about to go up. I do ask that you, again, try to remain quiet during the session as much as possible, and we'll leave plenty of time for Q&A. But Nancy, you had a question from the beginning?
I just wanted to mention that the book is 99 cents on iBooks.
Okay, so you can buy the book for 99 cents, but it is also available for free online, and all of the information for that is on our website. And if you're part of our social media pages, you'll get to see that I am trying to live the representation. I'm going to ask you, do not make noises and move around during our class series. So if you need to get settled, this is your last opportunity to do so, please, and then that's going to be it. Okay, and I'll let you know if you're moving around and stuff like that. So we are taking this very seriously. I hope you do as well. So the idea that we're working on is I'm going to only offer foreign words if they're absolutely necessary. And so there are a few things that I want you to know. And what you're working on are called, traditionally speaking, from the monastery's perspectives, or it's called the path to enlightenment. It's why you would enter into a monastery or nunnery to begin with. It's like, right now, if you were to go into a bookstore, into the Buddhist section, the spiritual section, or go on to Amazon, again, I'm going to ask that you be quiet in the back, please. Thank you. But if you were to go into a monastery, it's a different thing. If you go to a bookstore, on what basis would you choose your first book? Your first book in Buddhism, your second book, your third book, your 10th book. And the reality is that you don't know. You don't know that there is an order to all of this. And it's certainly, there's no order at Barnes & Noble. There's no order on Amazon. And you might be surprised to know that there actually is a way that we've been doing this for a very long time, that you just go step by step by step by step. And the steps are there to lead you to enlightenment. And if you take a look at the Buddha's teachings, you wouldn't be able to figure it out either. He didn't teach in any order. He taught very differently. The order that he taught was going around when people asked him to teach, he would teach. And fortunately, he taught from age 35 until age 80. And he taught almost the same things everywhere he went over those 45 years. But there's still no order. It was just him going around. This day he would teach this day he would teach this. And so what we've done as a monastic community is taken these teachings and try to distill them so we could impart them to people in the shortest period of time as possible, was the idea, so that they could go from wherever you are in your life to enlightenment. And that is the goal. We don't have a stress reduction course that we offer. We offer an enlightenment course. which means no more suffering, and to know not just for yourself, but for how other people, how to help other people do the same thing. So it's really important that you know the order to all of this, and that there is a step-by-step basis and know what you're learning. I never want you to believe me, never want you to trust me. I want you to be able to research, go online, get whatever books, talk to other teachers who are knowledgeable, and make sure that what you're doing here, that you have confidence in. And you'll only have confidence if you question everything. So we don't question, you don't believe me based on my reputation, you don't believe me based on charisma, you don't believe me on anything. One thing, and that's it. And that is you test and you test and you see if it's true for you, true to your heart, true to your conscience, true to your intellect, true to your understanding. And that's how we do things here. So again, this is called a path to enlightenment. And the Tibetan name for it, please repeat, is Lamrim Chenmo. So it's LAM is what we're doing here. This is going to be your first book. And you're going to have many, many books of notes over the students have been with me for 20 years. There are several bookshelves up and down with nothing but notes. And so welcome to all of this. But there is a step-by-step, and when you teach, it will be in this order. Okay. So first thing, what's the name of our course? The Stages of the Path to Enlightenment. Stages of the Path to Enlightenment. And I'll be defining what all of this means. We'll be meditating on it shortly. You never have to have confidence in me or trust me or have faith in me. We don't do guru here at all. You are your own teacher, and we are friends, and that's it. And again, Lamrim, please. Lam, it's one word, means path. And Rim, R-I-M, means stages. Chen, C-H-E-N, please repeat, Chen, means great. Lamrim Chen. And then the last word is Mo. So please repeat Mo. M-O. And Mo is a feminine particle in Tibetan that designates the highest, the highest teachings that there are. So it's an honorific term. So in Tibetan Buddhism, Mo is a feminine particle. So ladies, I think you'll appreciate this, right? That means it's the highest when we use this term. So Lamrim Chenmo. So literally the great stages on the path to enlightenment. And that's what you're learning. So we'll take it nice and easy. For those of you who are taking the teacher training, there's more than 120 of you now. You need to go online after each course. You take the quiz, the automated quiz, there's class notes, and you do the result, and you get, at the end, there's 10 quizzes, and then there's a final at the end of each course. There was a course that is an introduction to all of this, an introduction to mindfulness. For those of you who are starting tonight, you'll need to go back, take your time, but double back, and take that 6-week course as well. And those are all online as well, okay? So let's get started. So welcome to the stages of the path to enlightenment. I need to get started first with, again, directly stating how honored I am to be here in this position. My teachers asked me more than 20 years ago to come back and teach. At the time, I thought they were absolutely out of their mind. I actually didn't want to come back. I was perfectly happy sitting in the Himalayas, and I thought it was some sort of a joke, or they didn't like me or something like that. Basically, they're basically trying to get rid of me, go back to America. So none of this was planned. It's all organic, and it just grew and grew and grew. And my teachers, again, I just got lucky, basically. I just ran into the very, very best of teachers. And I only know that in retrospect, that I ended up with His Holiness Karmapa and Thena Rinpoche, who's been with me since I was a teenager, the head of almost every tradition. And in Thailand, I was equally lucky in Burma. And we just kept getting blessed over and over. So here we are in the midst of all this. And I am extremely devotional toward this path, toward these teachings, have the utmost respect for them, and hopefully I can impart that respect and that gratitude to you as well. So we'll begin with just some prayers and aspirations I'll do on my own. And this is just an homage to our prayers, to our lineages. Sangye chudan soki chotnam la Janju badu datni chapsuchi Dagi jinzo jipe sonam ki. Drola penjir zonge drupar jo. Zonge judan sogi jotnama. Jonju badu datni chapsuchi. Dagi jinzo jipe sonam ki. Drola penjir zonge drupar jo. Zonge judan sogi jotnama. Jonju badu datni chapsuchi. Dagi jinzo jipe sonamgi. Drola penjir songe drupar. And that's just a simple refuge prayer to the Buddhas, our great teachers, the Dharma, and community. So I'll teach you all of these things as time goes on. But for now, let's get started. Meditation. So meditation posture, please. We'll do a little meditation and then we'll do just a short teaching tonight, just the basics of all of this, and get started. So meditation posture, upright, please. Alert and comfortable posture. Your spine is straight, please. Shoulders back, resting on the shoulder blades. I'll be teaching you very traditionally, step by step. This is called the 7-point posture of Vairocana. The shoulders back, resting on the shoulder blades, elbows out, away from the ribs, please. If you're sitting in a chair, please don't use the back of the chair. If you have a medical need to do so. Uninhibited breathing, please. Hands can be palms downward on the knees or the thighs. Form the traditional posture of the right hand and the left hand. Thumbs together gently, just beneath the navel. And your chin tucked in slightly. I'd like you to just go back and forth slightly from side to side. And find a place where your spine is supporting your weight instead of the muscles in your back, please. If you're using the muscles in your back too much, you're going to get exhausted. Start pulling on the hips here shortly. If you can find a place where your spine is balanced and supporting your weight. You feel that? And don't worry about if one shoulder is higher than the other. That's not a problem. Okay. Lips slightly parted. That'll stop your mouth from drying out during the practice. And your tongue is resting naturally on the upper palate, just behind your teeth. Eyes are gently closed, not tightly. And I'd like to encourage you. Make an intention, please, to remain still for the next few minutes. No movement, please. Still like a mountain. At ease like a sleeping baby. But the mind is alert. Go ahead and turn the dimmer switch up on your mind all the way. Illuminate the mind, please. Illuminate awareness. Don't try to stop thoughts or emotions. Everything that comes is just fine here. Whatever it is you thought meditation was, go ahead and let that go. We're not here to stop thinking, stop emotions, sensations. Everything is fine. So remember this. Repeat after me internally, please. Still like a mountain. At ease like a sleeping baby. And alert like a sentry. Still like a mountain. Internally, what's next, everyone? Internally, please. Please follow the instructions. Still like a mountain, at ease like a, and alert like a. Excellent. And then we'll do a short concentration practice just to begin. Be counting your breaths to 21, but in this particular way. As you exhale, that is at the end of the exhalation, that is not the first count. The first count is at the top of the first inhalation. So let's see if you can do that. It's the reverse of what you would normally think is the right way. So exhale, inhale 1. Let's see if you can make it to 21, please. making the mind supple, pliant. Keep it going. And always the litmus test of your practice, if you ever want to know how you're doing, the litmus test of our practice is compassion. And so this evening, we'll start with that basis: loving kindness and compassion, unconditionally. So I'll lead you through a guided meditation. Please pay attention, don't waver. Let's go through this together as a community. Just allow your body to settle into its natural state. Don't try and control your rhythm. Remain still, but soft and alert. And just for a few minutes, just feel the body breathing. Just allowing the mind to simply settle, equally with the qualities of ease and comfort, loose and relaxed. It's okay that you have lots of thoughts, but with each exhalation, release the excessive flow of thoughts. With each exhalation. And as you exhale and release the successive flow of thinking, I encourage you to turn your lips upward slightly. Joy is an instrumental part of your practice. It doesn't matter how your day has been, how you're feeling. This is different. This is the joy of letting go. So with each exhalation, a little uptick of the lips, please. Even if you've been depressed all day, it's not relevant now. And at the end of each exhalation, just take a minute, or just take a pause and rest at the end of each exhalation. And just allow awareness to rest into its own silence. A silence that is not a stupor. It's not dull, it's not blank, but instead a silence that is luminously clear. That with each exhalation that you feel, this letting go is like a returning home. The natural state, we refer to it as awareness. It's what's beneath all of your thoughts, your emotions, sensations, internal chatter. Exhale, release, and rest. Pause just for a moment. And turn your lips upward. So what we're doing is we're making a deliberate choice to be soothing, to be still. We're choosing that over stimulation and excitement. That temporarily we are giving up the pursuit of pleasure and instead temporarily settling for serenity. And see if you can touch that serenity at the end of each exhalation, please. A little uptick of the lips, please. Let's do something unusual for our culture, a room filled with smiling Western people who are choosing stillness and serenity over excitement. If someone were to look at you right now from the outside, that they might even say this person is composed, dignified, radiant. And that is the beginning of the cultivation of metta bhavana, immeasurable loving kindness. That serves as our basis. And what this implies, of course, unconditional loving kindness, that our affection, that our well-wishing for other people and for ourselves is not conditional upon their behavior or our own behavior. That's what unconditional refers to. Whether or not someone's behavior has been pleasing or displeasing to us. And in traditional Buddhist practice, loving kindness is first directed at ourselves. So first we try and love ourselves, even during the worst of times, when we've exhibited even the most regrettable of behaviors, when we've been at our worst, when our minds have been dominated by mental afflictions, and perhaps we've even acted out of delusion, hostility, craving. When we have manifested as a thoroughly disagreeable person, can we love ourselves even then? And the idea is certainly not to love the behaviors, but instead the love is to care for and to wish to heal the person who's been dominated by such mental afflictions, trapped by habitual behaviors that have been harmful. So I'd like you to think back to in your life, perhaps a recent, perhaps distant episode in your past. Go ahead and bring it to mind, please, where the behavior that you manifested, the state of mind that you were dominated by, was very disagreeable, harmful, and by any standard, regrettable. Please bring that to mind now. Rewind the tape. And the behavior that you exhibited, it may have indeed been deplorable, but can there be love toward that sentient being, namely yourself, and not the mental afflictions that dominated you on these occasions? There's nothing to love there, these emotions, but they are not who you are. They are not sentient beings. They are temporary toxins of the mind. You don't need to love them any more than you would love cancer. But I'd like you to look back on that person that you were in that instant or that phase of your life even, perhaps even hated by some people. Can you look through the veneer of your behavior, the toxins of your mind, and can you see the person who was troubled, confused, and trapped? And can you arouse the heart of loving kindness toward that person? Please bring your hands together and namaste or Anjali as we pray to yourself. Your own name, please, out loud. Again. May you be truly well. Your name again, please. May your mind be restored to balance and clarity. Your name again. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be safe. May you be peaceful. And at ease. May you be truly well. Again, think of that person in your mind, that troubled person. May you be truly well. May your mind be restored to balance and clarity. May you be happy. Now you know that person whom you were was not all bad, that when that behavior passed and the mental afflictions came and went, that this person, yourself, was deserving of happiness, worthy of finding fulfillment and joy. Now, who among you, who among us, can say that these mental afflictions, the root of these behaviors, will not rise up again and dominate you and take over the landscape of your mind once more? Who is to say that we will never replicate those behaviors from the past and replicate them again in the future? Hopefully not. But where is the guarantee? That if we cannot love ourselves unconditionally, then how can we ever imagine loving anyone else unconditionally? So I'd like you to bring to mind now someone, perhaps a person, a personal acquaintance, a friend, a family member, perhaps even someone on the world stage, who out of delusion and hostility and craving has engaged in behavior that has clearly been harmful. Whether or not specifically directed at you, but nevertheless really harmed people, or perhaps harmed the environment. This person is so easy to dislike or even despise. Please bring to mind such a person, their behavior, that attitude, that temperament that arouses such aversion in you. Now, can you see yourself in this person? Just like you, this person became dominated by mental afflictions. Just like you, caused harm, pain, which you are all too familiar with. But there is commonality here. And we know how painful these behaviors can be. But like with yourself, can you see through the veneer of their behavior? Can you see through the veneer of their mental afflictions? And can you arouse for this brother or sister, the people perhaps even in the same family as ourselves, the same aspiration that we wish for ourselves? See this person in your mind. Think of their name internally only, please. Look through the veneer, please. Say their name internally. And may you, like myself, please say with me now, be free of hatred and ill will. May you be happy. Think of their name. May you be safe. May you be peaceful. And at ease. And just as you would for yourself, imagine this person now becoming free of the mental afflictions that they were experiencing and finding genuine happiness rooted in finding the balance of their mind. Really seeing reality as it is, seeing clearly. Just imagine it, just as you would for yourself. Imagine this person to be free, that this person's highest, innermost aspirations and intentions have become fulfilled, radiant and clear. That person who harmed you, perhaps even intentionally. And now I'd like you to bring to mind the question, have I myself, have I ever intentionally harmed anyone for any reason? Have I ever really damaged someone? Have I ever really damaged someone? Harmed someone? Now bring the other person to mind again. The person who harmed you. In no way are we approving of the behavior, let alone the mental afflictions, the toxins that were behind these behaviors. There's no love affair there. But here we are establishing the common ground. That we are sentient beings, subject to mental afflictions, prone to error and mistakes. And this other person is just like us. Think of their name again once more internally. And repeat with me, please, as a prayer. And send it to them. Imagine sending it to them. May you, like myself.
May you, like myself.
May you, like myself, be free.
May you, like myself, be free.
For everyone's benefit.
For everyone's benefit.
For everyone's benefit.
For everyone's benefit.
May you be free.
May you be free.
May you find genuine happiness.
May you find genuine happiness.
Exhale, like you could send it to them with your exhalation. This joy of loving kindness. Envision again, once more, re-envision this person becoming free of the shackles of their mental afflictions and habitual tendencies toward harmful behavior. Now imagine you and this other person together in the same mental image, please, in the same picture. May we be happy.
May we be happy.
May we be safe.
May we be safe.
Say their name internally. May we be peaceful
May we be peaceful.
and at ease. May we be happy.
May we be happy.
May we be well.
May we be well.
May we be safe.
May we be safe.
May we be peaceful
May we be peaceful.
and at ease.
And at ease.
In your mind's eye, imagine embracing this person. Perhaps even whispering to them, may we be happy. May we be well. May we be safe. May we be peaceful and at ease. Please open your eyes softly and face someone else. Everyone find someone to turn toward. It's not rocket science. You just turn and put your hands together. Super easy. May you be happy. May you be well. May you be free of mental afflictions. May you be safe. May you be peaceful and at ease. May we be happy. May we truly be well. May we be safe. May we be free of mental afflictions. May we be peaceful and at ease. Please introduce yourselves. So you have a 1 minute fidget break. Silent, please don't talk, just a minute fidget break, move around. If you need to stretch, stand up. And we'll just have a short class this evening, just getting a nice, easy start with many years to go, many years ahead of us. Let's get off to a nice light start, if that's all right. Okay? Good? This is my idea of a light start, just so you know. So, you can already imagine what's coming. Nothing but good, nothing but goodness here, I promise. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it'll all be really, really good. Yeah. Certainly turned my life around. And everyone I've ever known that we've talked this to has just been a game changer. So hopefully you're in for the long haul. If you're a shooting star, you shine brilliantly for a little bit, that's also okay. But we hopefully you're here for a little bit longer than that. Okay? So it's traditional that you understand that the course that we're using, or actually it's an ancient system, this Lamrim Chenmo, this great stages on the path to enlightenment. And it's important that you know the author, a little bit about him. Atisha Dipankara. He's Bengali, this is, the current day Bangladesh, actually, where he's from. This is 1,000 years ago. He's born in 920, I think. And some of you have been with me to Tibet, to India, and we stopped at Atisha's place once or twice. If you'd like to go with us again, we'll be going in September. So I think this last trip we went to India and Nepal, and so we'll go to Tibet this year. I think mid-September we'll put out some information on that, and we'll be going to all these places. So for those of you taking these courses and you want to see where it came from, its root, and what it looks like, and it still more or less looks like it did 1,000 years ago, then we'll be happy to have you with us, as long as you're willing to meditate at high altitude and wear a warm coat. So those are the prerequisites. We'll be stopping at all the major monasteries and meditating, and then working our way to Everest. And it's a great little monastery there as well. It's a nice cave complex that we'll take you to, that we're accustomed to meditating in. And then you wake up in the morning and see Everest from top to bottom, only available on the Tibetan side, not the Nepali side. And we'll make our way to Kathmandu from there. And I think you'll be forever changed. I'm very sure. So I know a number of you have been with me over the years, and look forward to having you back. So what did Atisha do? He was, for those of you who went on this India trip, he was a student at Nalanda. So for those of you guys remember Nalanda University, that was the largest Buddhist university, the largest university in the world actually at the time. And he was so well known in debate. He came from a royal family, and he just completely shut off everything and just wanted to study and become a good monk, and was committed to enlightenment. And he became so renowned that the king of Tibet invited him to come and spread what's called the second teaching, the Kadampa teaching, in Tibet. And the first wave that started in the 6th or 7th century was completely wiped out by an anti-Dharma king of Tibet. And so the second wave came in with Atisha, and this is about, again, right around the year 1000. So I guess it's been about 1,000 years now. That's what you're studying. And it's been the traditional material used in the monastery since then. And all the lineages use this. Jalajay is very respected. And it took a long time for him to get from India over the Himalayas into Tibet. And the reason wasn't because of the Himalayas. The reason because his dedication to enlightenment was so strong that he was on this horse, and they're going along, and there's huge emissaries that the king of Tibet sent. And they're going along, and click, 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 and they're going along, and they couldn't go more than 30 feet. And the reason is that anytime that Atisha had a negative thought that came up, he would immediately stop his horse, he would dismount, and he had a little traveling altar, and he would lay it all out, and he would do 3 prostrations to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And then he would pack it all up, get back on his horse. And sometimes he would only go a few more steps on the horse, and another bad thought would enter into his mind. And he would stop and dismount and do this whole thing. So it was taking them forever to get to Tibet. Apparently he had all types. He would stop himself no matter how small the negative thought. This was his dedication to enlightenment, that he wouldn't let a single negative thought go by without correcting it, not for more than a few seconds. So imagine that kind of practice. So how many thoughts have you had today, would you say? You know, on average? If you put it in a search engine, Doug, you know? It's somewhere between, most search engines will tell you about 20 to 60,000 per day. So 20,000 if you're getting a little older, and if you have ADHD, probably on the high side, right? So, and then how many of those thoughts were negative? How many thoughts do you think were neutral? How many thoughts were positive, wholesome? how many did you even intend to have of those, say, 30,000 thoughts? Did you even think of having? And so you sort of get an idea of where this is going. Like, what would it mean to be enlightened, where everything that you do, all your thoughts, all your speech, all your actions were directed? Can you imagine? And they were all focused on something. They're all focused on your highest intentions and your highest aspirations of loving kindness and compassion. And believe it or not, as crazy as that sounds right now, that is exactly where we're going. We're to have every one of your intentions purposeful and manifest the way that you want them, without any of these things going by. And we will show you and teach you exactly how to do that. Does that sound like a daunting task? What do you think? Okay, now you think to yourself, if that sounds daunting, could there be anything more daunting than that? And the answer is yes. And that is that you continue to live a life where you have random thoughts arising like crazy, 30,000 or so a day, that are connected to emotions that you didn't intend to have. For those of you coming in, I do require your stillness, please. Thank you. Yeah. So it is not where you need to be. You don't need to feel overwhelmed by that, but I just want you to know where we're headed. That an enlightened being, a Buddha, everything is manifest. It's purposeful, it's conscious, it's aware. And it's a very different life than someone who's not enlightened, who's not realized. And so that's where we're headed. And we'll teach you and train you that this is actually much easier than it sounds. And it's even more difficult if you don't do it, that you just continue to have a life of thousands and thousands of thoughts and emotions that you don't know really where they're coming from, and blaming other people and blaming yourself for everything, when actually you didn't even mean to have these types of ideas. So that's where we're headed. And so this is what Atisha was doing. And when he finally got to Tibet, he became so renowned, this system that he learned in India from Nalanda University, that it inspired Tibetans all over, who are really a lot like Americans, actually. At that time, they didn't have Dharma. And they were really all about, I think they were kind of wild people. I think that's the way that everyone describes them back then. And they had an idea of freedom, which is, I will do whatever I want, whenever I want, and no one can stop me. I'll say whatever I want, I'll do whatever I want. And that was their idea of freedom. And I don't think it sounds too different than Americans' idea. And they were all about making the money, and they were all about living it for this life and doing the best that they could. And some of them were bandits. That's what they were known for robbing and just taking what they could take for themselves. So a lot of what we call self-cherishing. And these teachings are what transformed that entire society, this particular teaching. And the book that you're reading has a commentary that's from my teacher, from the Dalai Lama. And so you have this beautiful ancient text with a commentary by the Dalai Lama, and then you have little old me who's trying to give it to you in 2000, modern, American vernacular, and with a little bit of humor thrown in. And Dalai Lama's pretty funny too. If you've never met him, I encourage you while he's still with us. And I think you'll find that in the writings as well. So, but that's what we're doing. We're teaching the stages of the path to enlightenment. And I want to condense it for you. I'm aware of your schedules. I'm aware that you are Americans. I'm aware of it. I'm one of you. And how do we condense this in such a way that you can't miss it, that you can't confuse it? What do you think? So we'll just make it as simple and direct. We call it as pithy as possible, that every one of you can get this without any mistake. You game?
Yeah.
Path to Enlightenment made simple. How's that? Because there's three different versions of this. There's the great stages on the path to enlightenment, the Lamrim Shenmo. There's the medium length. And by the way, the great version is 3 large volumes. The medium length is about 1.5 volumes. And then this one I'm going to share with you is about 14 verses. How's that? Good? And you'll see that the Dalai Lama is using a commentary from one of the great teachers in the tradition named Je Tsongkhapa. So it's really important that you know his name. You'll be seeing it in your text. So please repeat Je, which literally is a respected term that we use in Tibetan. It means Lord, Je, and then Tsongkhapa, Tsong. And this will be on your quizzes and tests, so you definitely want to take notes. Jay Tsongkhapa, he is Tsongkhapa, one of the great teachers. And he comes in about 400 years after Atisha, and he spreads these teachings. Now, he faced a similar situation that I'm facing. And the situation that he was facing back then is they were trying to spread these teachings, but what he was teaching was 3 large volumes of the stages of the path to enlightenment. So the Tibetans really weren't ready for that. They were busy. They were busy, chasing girls and chasing boys and making money, I guess, chasing yaks and all the things that you would do back in ancient Tibet. And you're just a modern version of that. And so his students that he would send out as emissaries to give these teachings, they would go and they would lose their audience. They would all be falling asleep. They're saying, this is too high, this is too complicated. Can you give it to me? Can you give a shorter version? So they came up with a middle length version. And then they sent that out there. And then that didn't go very well either. They were like, it's still too much. And so finally his teachers, his emissaries, were getting very confused. And they said, please, Jay Tsongkhapa, can you give it just the shortest possible? They can still get enlightened, but can you just sum it up for us? So would you like that version, or which version? You have three choices. Choice A, the 3-volume collection. You have the 1.5 volumes, or the 14 verses. Knowing your schedule, which one would you prefer? The 14 verses? Okay. Deal? So we'll just give it to you straight. And then I'm going to even summarize it more this evening. I'm going to break it into these 3. How about that? We'll make it really, really short. You know these 3 things. This is how to get enlightened in short order. You interested or no? So you're like, I don't know. Look at your FSU is going to sleep already. So, all right. So if you went to FSU, come on, get your antennas up. It's going to be okay. It's just how to get enlightened. No big deal. Are you game or no?
Yeah.
Okay. You're like, I don't know about this enlightenment thing. I'm like, I got to do stuff. So it's called the 3 principal paths. The 3 principal paths. And it's how we start off in the monastery. If you were to come in, you're like, obviously you're entering into a monastery, you want to know how to get enlightened. That's why you're there. You're devoting, you've obviously decided to become celibate. You've traveled all the way from wherever. You've learned a new language. You've learned Tibetan. You've learned Thai, Sanskrit, and you're all the way out there. Obviously, you want to get enlightened, and you want to get it done quickly. Anyone know why you want to get it done quickly? Because you could die. Because you could die. When can you die? There's a 100-story building. You're going down. You pass the 50th floor, and a guy yells at you, how's it going? And you say, so far, so good. The only problem with the story is that you're at floor 50, and you really actually don't know how many floors there are. And that's where you find yourself. That's where you find yourself in all of this. You have this incredible potential to become enlightened, to follow these 3 principal paths. And but we may not see some of you next week. Not because you didn't like this, not because we don't like you, but because you simply might die. You really have no way of knowing. And some of you have more certainty than others. Lynn is about 110, something like that, give or take a few, right?
Right.
Right. And so some of you that, for those of you who are new, you're like, did he just joke around with that old lady's death? Yes, because we're friends. This is what we do as friends here. We don't lie to each other. We only do reality class. And the truth is that some of you are much younger than Lynn, and she may outlive you. You simply don't know. And I don't care if you've got an uncle who made it to 103, or if you're vegan. Vegans die all the time. That's the way it goes. You know it, and I know it. We don't bullshit around here, okay? We're just going to talk frankly for the next 6 years. But I want you to get on this, because you can lose your body, you can lose this life at any time. And as you may have heard, we don't think that this life is your only one. And we'll be giving proofs for future lives in coming courses as well, so that you can get over any doubt that you may have. We'll be giving you logical proofs that there's probably good reason to think that this ain't all she wrote. But that's called materialism. And so I want you to start thinking like us. That I'm going to be providing you with evidence that you will not be able to refute. That this ain't the only game in town. I want you to start thinking beyond this life. And so that's why you need these three principal paths. In Tibetan, please repeat, Lamso, Namsum. So it's Lam, which you've heard before. It's the same Lam as the other one. The great stages on the path. So Lam is Lam. So, TSO is the next word. Nam, Nam. Sum, Sum, which means, look, Chik, Ni, Sum. So three principal paths. Lam is path. Sum is three. And it means principle. Namso. Namso. So how many of you have like spiritual stuff? You have like material things, right? You have like mala beads, you have a rosary, you have statues, you have these things? You have things like books, you have material, physical things that you're like, those are spiritual things, right? That you think that that's religious, that's spiritual. Maybe you have a dream catcher in your rearview mirror. You have stuff like this? You have like little, I don't know what your belief systems are, and I really don't care. But you have some of this stuff? You've collected some of these things? Okay. Those are physical things. So when I say path, I don't mean anything that's physical. Physical things can't get you enlightened. These are accoutrements. So going around with little crosses and mala beads and all of these things, it's really nice, but you're not spiritual. It's not going to help you get enlightened at all. You understand that when we talk about paths are mental. So please write. Yeah, paths are mental. Yeah, it's something that when this body goes and this life disappears, this material form, this is what continues. Mental, this is mental, this is mind that continues. Physical things are not gonna, your mala beads, your statues aren't gonna help you at all. Your crosses that you wear, you'll be, laying in a crematorium somewhere with a cross and it's not gonna make any difference. Yeah, it's your mind that goes. So what do we have here? Three principal paths. Three principal paths to what? It's the three principal paths that get you enlightened. So that's what you wanna know. The three principal paths that lead to enlightenment. And so this is what you want to develop for the next few years. These three things. And everything else that we teach is going to be somehow an offshoot of these things. Somehow going to be an offshoot of these things. So first path. First path. Renunciation. And whatever you think you know, what you mean by definitions, by these terms, just forget about it. I'm going to be giving you some things from our perspective, historically, that they don't mean the same things in English. Okay? So renunciation is the first path. And then the second one, Changsa, bodhicitta. We'll say awakened heart mind. Awakened heart mind. And the third is the correct view, sometimes called the wise view. Now, so for those of you who are you're gonna check on me, right? You're not gonna believe anything I'm saying, right? So you're gonna go look this up. So you probably want to know, well, what is it? In Sanskrit, what is it in Tibetan? How can we check on this guy? Renunciation in Pali, which is a Sanskrit derivative that the Buddha used, or close to. Please repeat, nekama. So that's N-E-K. H-A-M-M-A, nekama. In Tibetan, Nyenjung. Please repeat Nyen. N-Y-E-N hyphen J-U-N-G, Nyenjung. And I'll be explaining all this and then we'll get you out of here. These three things is what this whole night is about. Okay? In Tibetan, remember this is transliterations. Tibetan script is more like Sanskrit than anything, which I can show you, but I don't think it's useful here, right now at least. Maybe as years go on, if you want to do a Tibetan class, I'll be happy to, or Sanskrit class, I'll be happy to teach you. But Nyenjung, N-Y-N hyphen J-U-N-G, or in Sanskrit, Nekama, renunciation. Renunciation. What is renunciation? How many of you are fed up with this? You ever been fed up with this life? I mean, really fed up. I don't mean like a little bit. I mean, really fed up, like going, really, this is what it's all about. Early bird gets the worm. The harder I work, the more money I make. The more money I make, the happier or secure I'll be. And then you actually did all of those things that you were supposed to do, and it didn't work. Or you tried and it didn't work and you just don't want to do it anyway. Or you haven't even gotten started on that path and you think it's ridiculous. That what am I doing? And you look around and you have a big scope and you're going, this is my life and I'm just going to go along with this. And you're like going, I don't agree. You know, I look around, I go to shopping malls and I look at the homogenous nature of all of this. And I'm going, wow, I mean, I'm going to grow up and I'm going to have, what is some sort of, what is it, a wife? It's like a Gothic scene, no? American Gothic, what's there? You got the wife and the husband, what do they have? A pitchfork, and then what else they have? They have the house, they have a couple of kids, they have the fence, and then, and you do all of these things. You did what you're supposed to do. You follow the American dream, and you're still like, it leaves you, you ever had an existential feeling like, oh, so this is it, huh? You get married, and then, you know, the husband leaves you for an older man, or whatever, or the secretary. You know, it's always so cliche that you follow. You're like, oh, no, this is me. I am the cliche now. You know, do you guys know this? I got my degree. I did exactly what I was supposed to do. I'm neck deep in student loans. I mean, I have a house that's not really mine. It actually belongs to the bank. The car, that's another loan. I mean, you know what I'm talking about, or no? Or am I just talking to myself tonight? See, if you guys were monks and nuns, you would all know the answer to this. What would a monk and nun say to me right now? Because you would have walked away and said, of course you would already know the answer. But as Americans, I want to know, do you know the answer to these questions? Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you think some part of you goes, this is not for me? I have a life here. I have higher aspirations. I have higher intentions. And I can't believe that I would sell myself. And I do mean whore myself out for 8 to 10 hours a day, 5 days a week. And then try to find someone to share this with. Side whore, if you will. I mean to be brutal. I hope you're catching on. Lynn, what do you think? You've been through this a few times? You know what I'm talking about, everyone, or no? Sometimes you look at this and you just go, I can't believe this is my life. You're there? That's a taste of what we mean by nakama, by ninju. That's a taste of renunciation, where you just look at this, around this, and go, I guess I'll do it because I really don't know what else to do. I mean, everyone else is doing it, and that's what I'm supposed to do, and there's so many restrictions on me from my family, from my culture. I guess I'm just going to keep going because I just don't really know any other way. And this enlightenment thing sounds good, but like, can I have my cake and eat it too? Can I kind of like get the stuff I really don't really care for and get enlightened? And so let me help you with this. The answer is no. You can have the stuff, but if you spend your life trying to get more of it, then the answer is no. If you see the stuff for what it is, which we call, please repeat, Maya, in Sanskrit means illusion, in Tibetan Gyuma. If you see it for what it is, then fine. These are devices, you know, they're like dream devices. That's it. You got a car, hopefully it's a cool one, a Tesla perhaps, something good, right? You have a house, but it's like, the thing is, how you know you're not just playing games with yourself is because you'd never suffer for this stuff. If you say it's an illusion, but you suffer for it, that means that you know you're full of it. That's your litmus test. And most people are full of it. They say, oh, I know it's an illusion. People on this path are like, oh, I know it's all a big illusion. Like, really, do you suffer for it? Because who on earth would suffer for a mirage? It's someone who didn't really think it was a mirage. You get my drift? So if you know it's such a mirage, then why would you suffer for it? If the stuff comes easily, it's no big deal. You don't have to work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week for your mirages, then fine. But if that's what you're doing and you say, I know it's an illusion, but I'm selling my life for it, that means you're full of it. You might want to write that down. That's Tibetan. Actually, that's English. Sorry about that. You're full of it. You're mistaken. You're kidding yourself. So no one sells themselves purposely for an illusion. We good? You're starting to get a taste of what renunciation is all about. Now, that is what's going to lead you, that type of understanding that you develop. And you know, one of the easy ways that you can start to work on that, by the way, if you want some help with this, is become a minimalist. Start getting rid of your stuff, just your physical stuff. That'll help you a great deal. Great deal. You don't need all this stuff. You know it, and I know it. You probably haven't even used most of it. And we just, you guys know the 90-day rule? Anyone? Jenny, what's the 90-day rule?
Yeah, you said 90 days, what you need it for.
Yeah. If you're not going to use it 90 days, I mean, like, what are you doing? Some sort of apple core in your attic. You have a mental baggage list. If you were to walk through in your mind everything that you own, and through, I mean, literally, you would be here all day with pen and paper, writing down every little thing that you have, and you could do it mentally, which shows you that it actually is mental weight. It's not just physical stuff. It actually occupies valuable territory. So start thinking like this. Then that's just an easy thing. That's actually not what renunciation is. It's not about minimalism, but that's a good first step that you're going, what am I doing with this stuff? Out. Just, it's time. It's to get on this. It's hard to get on this path, and renunciation is the first part of it. And that's how you can test yourself. It's like going, just start. In this 12-week course, let's just see how much you can let go of. What do you think? Just the physical stuff. There's some other stuff I want you to get rid of too. You can imagine what they are. Relationships that are a hindrance to you, for example, that are not going to help you on this path. You've got relationships you really don't need. And you're going to lose them anyway. When are you going to lose them? Anytime. So why are you so invested in them? They could die, you could die when? So why are you giving yourself to this stuff? Bad relationships, people who are not encouraging. They don't encourage your highest aspirations. When you try to do good stuff like this, they actually discourage you. They're like, oh, really? Let's do something else tonight. Like what? Let's watch a rerun of last night's football game. Because I mean, that would be, to watch the highlights of that thing last night, that's got to be, if you start to understand what renunciation is, it's an actual distaste and a disdain. And I'm just trying to help you right now. Renunciation is a distaste and a disdain for these mundane things. That it starts to hit you like, I'm not doing this anymore. It's one thing to have the ideas of it. It's another thing to follow through with them. You can all have the ideas. I'm sure all of you have had these ideas. Then you got to follow through with this stuff. It's your behaviors, man. It's your actual actions. And then once you get rid of all of it, you don't, what? Get more. I mean, it's like, it's a disgust. It's like, I'm not doing this. And like, I'm not giving myself to, materialism, to commercialism. I'm going to stop blaming my culture. Oh, it's the marketing culture, it's the advertising, like as though you are not complicit in your own behaviors. Does that make sense? Are you complicit? Are you responsible for yourself? It doesn't matter that you're walking through a mall and someone sprays you like, oh, I couldn't help it, I had to buy that. Like, no, you didn't. And you look at this stuff and you're like, what am I doing? Now, once you hit that, then you get to this next thing that in Sanskrit we call, please repeat, bodhicitta. B-O-D-H-I, which means awakened. Chitta. This is the second path that we call awakened heart mind. So the first path is renunciation. And when you've got renunciation, you will get bodhicitta. You will get this awakened heart mind, which really means a synthesis of compassion and loving kindness that is built on the back of renunciation. Where you look at this and you just go, once you have this kind of distaste for this world and its empty promises, then you take a look at it and you just go, you without prejudice toward yourself or toward others, you look at it and your heart begins to bleed, is what happens. And this is called, please again repeat, bodhicitta. B-O-D-H-I-C-I-T-T-A. It's just like, your heart goes out for people who were caught. I mean, they're snared. It's like being a trout and you've got a hook like in your throat. And like how did that trout get that? He saw a shiny what? He took the bait, man, the shiny lure, and he bit on that thing. And it went, imagine having a hook in your mouth or in your throat, right? And someone's just toying with you and pulling you. And they catch you and they look at you, they pull you out of your home, out of your water. And they look at you and then reach down your throat and pull that thing out as though it's some sort of act of generosity or kindness on their part and throw you back in. And you're so stupid. Do you know what you do as a trout? You're so stupid. You think you would have learned your lesson, but what do? Get the sense of bodhicitta right there for the trout. It's like they don't learn. It's a shiny lure that hooks them. and they don't learn. What do you like? And that being is responsible for its own pain, and the kind of being that would lure others into that situation, knowing that it's an empty promise. What do you feel for those people who would lure people in, sell them stuff that's absolutely not useful and perhaps, and frankly, harmful, selling them the illusions? Do you feel compassion for them? And the answer is yes, if you have renunciation first. So compassion, loving kindness, bodhicitta in Sanskrit. In Tibetan, please repeat, Chang, Sim. So it's literally, Chang is like Jang. Sim is Sem. And Chang is Bodhi. It's as in bodhicitta, it means awakened. And then Sem, Sem means is a term for mind in Tibetan. Bodhicitta. In Sanskrit, chitta, in Tibetan, Sem. Bodhicitta. And so this is the second path you're developing. First, what's the first path, everyone? How do you say it? I forget it. Just tell me how to forget it. What is it in Sanskrit? You guys remember? Nikama, and then Nanjum in Tibetan. And then the second path that you're developing is what? Bodhicitta, or what does it mean in English? Awakened heart mind. I forget what's it mean in Tibetan. Changsim, excellent. Yeah, I'm a little slow. Thanks for helping me out. And then so that's what you're developing. You're developing this like unbelievable heart for people who are suffering unnecessarily. Like it's like if you were a mother, I want you to imagine this, and you had an only child. Just take this for a second. And I think, Jenny, you are in that situation right now. No? And you saw your child suffering. You know, the child goes to school and getting taunted, perhaps, and teased, and everyone all the time asking, what do you want to be when you grow up? What do you want to be? As though the basic idea behind that, of course, is that you're not okay as you are, right? What do you want to be? What do you want to be? What do you want to be, right? And like, you know, now after you develop renunciation and you hear that stuff and you see what people are doing, that's like the lure that they're trying to hook your kid in with, right? And you guys have all been there too. You know what the lure is. You got lured in, right? And you bit. Now imagine that were your kid, and you've already been through all of this. And how much do you want to tell your kid, don't bite? That you're okay as you are. You are not a psychological catastrophe. You are not damaged goods. There is nothing wrong with you. You don't need to become anything. You don't need to become successful. That you are okay as you are. And your kid goes like this. Nah, I'm going to become a what? Help me. A doctor, a lawyer,
Trash truck driver.
whatever. I don't care what it is. And you're just like, and then, you know, everyone says I should marry, you know, someone who has their ducks lined up in a row. I should marry someone who's got money. Like, and I don't know, Mom, if that's really the right thing to do. Is that really what it's about? And everyone's getting these mixed messages. These mixed messages are the lures, aren't they? And with your wisdom that you even have now, imagine that you had developed renunciation, and imagine what bodhicitta is right now, heart mind, where you would look at your kid and what kind of advice would you give your kid right now who says, I can't wait to go through law school because I really want to work 70, 80 hours a week and try to become a partner in the firm. What do you say to that? Because I really want to be successful and I want you to be proud of me, and I want people to look up to me, and I want that nice car, and I want to have the girl, and I want to, and what do you say what do you feel right there with your kid? You develop renunciation, remember? You have nikama. What do you say to your kid right now? Do you think it's important that you put them through the hazing ritual that your life has been? And encourage them to go, yeah, just go for it. Or do you step in and go, you know, son, you know, love, this isn't going to work. There's no amount of money that you can ever make that's going to make you successful. There's no amount of toys that you can ever get that people, are ever really going to look up to you. They may like your stuff, but they don't know you. Do you know you? And you feel that, you swallow. And you go ahead and swallow with me. As your only kid looks at you and says that they want to take the lure. And you have already been there and you've swallowed these lures. And you look at it and you just go, what do you say? Except, do you cry for what you cannot communicate to your own child? I want you to get a sense of what bodhicitta is like. It's a path. It's a path that you would not just look at your kid now, but you would look at everyone. Look around the room, please. Like you would look at, a mother would look at their only child. And who in this room would you wish to bite down on that lure? And when we say, again, hands together, please. Look at these people like, I want you to get it. Look around. May you be happy with me. We mean, don't bite. May you be happy. May you be smart enough, may you be wise enough to develop renunciation. This isn't going to work. May you be well. May you be safe. Take the road less traveled. May you be peaceful and at ease. And you're fortunate, younger people. You go talk to the older people in here. Don't be scared to have friends who are older. In every other society but ours, they are respected. And you should ask them about their lives. And you learn a ton about what to do and what not to do. But there's a great reason to respect the elders in this room. They're smart. They've been through it. They've been married. They've been through the divorce. They've had the kids who've died, the suicides of friends, the health issues. You ought to gain some perspective. You ought to have some peers, not just of your own age. Seek these people out. Come early, stay late, but seek them out. Do it on purpose. It'll help you with your path of renunciation. And by the way, is renunciation a physical path or a mental path? Bodhicitta, is that a physical path or a mental path? All right, last, we got one more. We have 3 paths and we're done for tonight. Third path, wise view, the correct view. In Pali, please repeat, Sama Ditti. Sama Ditti. First word is Sama, S-A-M-M-A. Ditti, D-I-T-T-H-I. It means wise view. In Tibetan, please repeat, Yang Dape. Dawa. Yang Dape Tawa. Not Dawa. Dawa is moon in Tibetan. Tawa. Yang Dape Tawa. Wise view. Wise view. And when we say that is the first part of the Eightfold Path, if you're familiar with Buddhism, for those of you who took Buddhism in school, the first part of the Noble Eightfold Path to realization, wise view. So what is the wise view? Yang Dape Tawa, Samaditi, what is that? Wise view is really, comes down to this, the wise view of karma, please write down, and the wise view of rebirth. Now, we're not going to get to rebirth tonight. I know you probably want me to, but I'm not doing it. So you have to wait till course 4 for that. Okay. So see how I bait and switch you. But I will do an introduction to karma right now. Wise view of karma. And I'm going to give you I'm going to give you lots of proofs. We're going to have whole courses on karma. And whatever you think you understood by karma, just lose it. Really. I've never met an American, and what they say in these books at Barnes & Noble is just bizarre. Especially these bumper sticker things you guys have with like, my karma ran over your dogma, or what comes around goes around, or when something bad happens to someone you don't like, I guess it was their karma. Let's just stop all that, because none of that is accurate. Okay? It has absolutely nothing to do with nothing. I do want you to understand it like this, and it's going to get really deep and really beautiful, but I just want to start tonight by starting to scare the living hell out of you. How's that? And then we'll get you on your way. Okay, so I do want you to understand it like this: cause and effect. To start with, it's going to get much, much deeper. Cause and effect. But remember, it's a path, so it's going to be mental cause and effect. Remember, it's 3 principal paths, and paths are what? Mental or physical? Mental. Okay, so the wise view of karma. What I want you to know for tonight only is going to get, again, just remember, this is foundational. It's going to get much deeper. We're going to get to realize how enlightened beings understand it. This is how you need to understand it. Cause and effect. I just want you to know this, that a cause produces a similar result. The cause produces a similar result. That you will always experience the results of your thoughts, speech, and actions. You will always experience the result of your thoughts, speech, and actions. In fact, you are experiencing, and your life has been nothing but this, and will continue to be. And so what this means is that you can now, because people say, oh, I get that, that sounds so easy. You plant an apple seed, what do you get? It's cause and effect. An apple tree, right? You don't get an apple, you get an apple tree. You plant an apple seed, you don't get an apple. Right? You failed that one too. All right. All right, let's try again. Now, people say they get that, they understand it. And I don't think if you take a look at your life that you say you understand that concept, but if you really understood that concept, then why do you do what you do if you knew that you were going to experience the result? And why do you think that you won't experience the result? Because you believe, this is essentially just basic physics, that causes produce what? A similar result. You don't plant an apple seed and get an orange tree. Agreed? So it's really easy to be confused about all of this. The easiest one is people who have a lot of money. So I want to talk American for a second. That's not English. This is different. This is a particular disorder that is, while not unique to our culture, almost unique. We've never seen anything like this in the history of the world, where people are so infested, not invested, with the idea of making money, that they would do anything for it. My father was murdered when I was 8 years old by his business partner, a family friend of ours, and we had over for dinner. He took out an insurance policy on my father and killed him, had him shot at our family picnic area, and left him floating in a lake. But he got paid. Now, for those of you who like rap videos, that sounds like probably kind of cool, doesn't it? Right? Like that's kind of what? You got whatever it takes to make a buck. What do you think? Mike, what do you think? Cool, good? All right. Now, you like that? Yeah, you just do whatever you got to do to make a buck. You got to sell whatever you got to sell. If you got to get one by people, if you got to not pay people, you got to take yours, man. You got to be I like some of this stuff. You got to be a boss. You got to build an empire. And whatever it takes, no matter how you have to do it, you got to get yours. What do you think? Steve, how old are you now?
73.
What do you think about what I'm saying?
I think there's a lot to it. You can learn nothing for life just trying to get things you really don't need.
Now, the idea is that you will not face the consequences. You don't see. I told you, you don't believe that if you plant an apple seed that you think that you can just do whatever you want and then there's going to be no what? And you look around, and I understand people, and I empathize, because you could look at people and you can say some of the wealthiest people, actually there's a saying around this that no great fortune has come without a great theft. There's all kinds of statements like this through history, and that's Moliere. And you take a look at this and you look at it and you go, God, it seems like some of the worst people have tons of money, who lie and cheat and steal, right? And just deceive everyone wholesale. So you may get it in your head that to make a lot of money, you got to do what? And so the idea is that lying, cheating, and stealing will lead you to make what? So that's how you think of cause and effect. Does that make sense? That's how a lot of people think about, I can do whatever I want. And as long as I don't get caught, perhaps, by the wife, by the husband, as long as I don't get caught, then there's going to be no what? Consequence. If the police don't catch me, the wife doesn't catch me, maybe there's a guy, maybe not, but I don't know. But anyway, I know I'm here, and here's the idea. I've got one life to, like the sands of the hourglass. These are, and then it's just good materialism. Then you just die, and it's what? There's no result. Isn't that right? That's your hope. Now, your evidence for that, well, that's lacking. And we will go through and we will do these logical proofs that we've had for thousands of years that Western people are just now being exposed to. But I will leave you convinced that this is not going to be the only time around. And it's not going to be a matter of faith. Cool. Cool? All right. Now, the idea is that if you experience something in your life that's negative, this is wise view. Where did that come from? You catch someone lying to you, stealing from you, hurting you. Where did that come from? So now we're going to do a legit introduction to wise view and karma. Where did that come from? You see someone lie to you. Do you wonder how could they do that? Do you wonder that? How could they do that? How could they deceive me like that? And now you have, see how wonderful this is going to be? Now you have an answer, don't you? Where do cherry trees come from? Who planted those seeds? Oh man, see, this is like where everyone goes silent. Why are you so like boisterous and lively just a minute ago, and now you're just like cat got your tongue? So may I ask you again, who planted these seeds that you experienced the result of? Do you think that when someone lies to you or you see someone deceiving you or you wonder about other people's intentions, don't you have any idea where that came from? I want you to have an idea starting tonight as an introduction to wise view, that didn't just come from nowhere. That was no accident. I want you to take responsibility for yourself, responsibility for your life. So here's a definition of karma you'll never forget because it's the actual correct definition. So please repeat. Definition of karma. Lele. Jikten. Jikten means the world. Natso. Ki. This is the Buddha's definition of karma. In the 4th chapter of the Abhidharma Kosha, and it's the classic one. This is the Abhidharma Kosha is our text that we study. It's the text of higher knowledge for realized beings. And here's what the Buddha had to say. What's the definition of karma? And he was asked by the monk Baishu, and we'll be going over this over and over again. The monk says, because every great spiritual teacher has asked this question, Buddha, where does the world come from? Where do all the beings in the world, where does it come from? You know, in the Bible, in Genesis, what does it say? What's that opening? Where's the world come from and all the people? Yeah, and how many days? No, 6. And then he did what on the, that's why you don't do stuff except watch football on Sundays. Right? Because God didn't, so now you get to, because he rested, now you get to watch football. Excellent. Yeah. Pronunciation is going well for you. You get to watch young people smash their brains together at high velocity. But it's a national sport, so. I mean, you can't really have a choice. Renunciation, what do you think? See what might be entailed? You see where I might be pushing you? You're from FSU, you're going, I hate this guy. Maybe not this year, but maybe next year. You guys didn't do so well this year, did you? Maybe this is a good year for renunciation. Depending on how your team does. This is a serious discipline. It's going to require you to 2 to 3 hours a week of meditation and study. If you're not up for it, we have Sunday mornings for you. So no sweat. I hope you come. Hope Sunday mornings inspire you. But if you're into the discipline, this is what we're going to be doing. And it just gets better and better and better. But we are not kidding around. We are for real. You are responsible for your will. So here's the definition of karma. Lele jekten nasoki. It means this. Where does the world come from? The Buddha had a description like you have never heard a spiritual teacher ever give before in the history of spirituality, because every one of them says it came from a deity. I don't care if it's the Quran, I don't care if it's the Bible, I don't care what text you're using. A deity did this, but not here. Where does the world that you experience come from? And that's where you're going to hear a path, and it's going to be mental. And the Buddha defines it this way. The world and all the beings come from the way that you experience them, from the movement of your own mind, from the way you think. That's where it comes from the way you think. So the definition of karma in Buddhism, movements of the mind with varying degrees of intention. Movements of the mind, meaning your own thought process. That's why you experience what you experience, because the way you what? The way you think. So we don't blame gods around here for our problems. We don't blame other people. You understand? This ties into what we were talking about. When I said you plant these seeds, you get this result. So what seeds did you plant? You planted the seeds of thought. You planted the seeds of speech. You planted the seeds of action, and you are experiencing the result of that in every moment. You are not experiencing things as they are. You're experiencing things as you have been trained, or in your case, to some degree, intentionally choose to see them by choosing to watch certain programs, by choosing to put certain books, to hang around certain people. Some of it was beyond you, for sure. But at this point, I want you in your life to stop blaming other people, stop blaming the world or society, and take the bull by the horns, take responsibility and go, I am responsible for my life. I will get the result. I will get the result of my thoughts, speech, and actions. I'm going to stop with this enabling talk, this codependency talk. Stan, please raise your hand back there. AA sponsor, how many years?
28.
Sober, how many years?
28.
28 years. I say no codependency, no enabling. You started with me years ago. How's that sound now? Sounds good. You'll get there too. We are responsible for ourselves. Emotionally, no one makes you feel the way you feel. No one makes you do the things you do. You are responsible. And what you do, you will experience the result of. And it's going to be what type of path? It's going to be what? Mental. The way you think. Movements of the mind. So we want you, like a Tisha, getting off your horse, your high horse, and on the ground and going like this. I can't live like this anymore. There's going to be a result to these thoughts, speech, and actions. We don't have the Buddha as karma police in this tradition. We don't have a God who's going to judge you. It's just going to be you experiencing, you get this? It's just going to be you experiencing the result of your own deeds, your own thoughts, your own speech, and no one else to blame. This is not Western psychology where you get to blame your parents. We don't do mom, we don't do dad, we don't do God, we don't blame the local deities. We just say it's all up to who? Now, basically what we're saying is grow up. How's that? Now for you young children, close your ears for some of this stuff. It's a little late. Charlie, you've heard these terms before in high school, I suspect?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So your first go around with bad words. Now, you say, how can a monk say that? And that would be a great question for a monk. I used to be a monk. Okay, now I dance. Went with my wife to a tango show in Buenos Aires a couple nights ago. So I used to be a monk. I know what monks know. But my job is not to be a monk with you. My job is to live in the world and to live with you and to teach you these things and how to bring this into your life and how to bring this into intimacy, into your sex lives, how to bring this into your love life, your fun life, your family, your acquaintances, how to relate this stuff to real life. Something that a celibate monk, this is why my teachers asked me to come here, a celibate monk can't do. So that's why I'm here. And if you take a look for friends on social media, don't be silly. Look at my post, there's a theme. One is going to be worldly, one is going to be spiritual. The next post will be worldly, the next will be spiritual. So for some of you who have friends who are complete, jackasses, novices to life, and they can't understand what's going on, now you have an idea what to say to them. How to be in the world, but stop being an idiot. That's what we are not monks. And you're not, how many of you going to be, have you planned on being a monk in here? Or none? A Buddhist? Good. I'm happy to hear. Fantastic. And if you are, I'll show you where to go. If you want to become a monk, I don't know why you do that, but if you want to, if you really want to devote yourself like that, which I highly recommend for some of you, because some of you have a hard time being in this world, clearly. It's just, you just get lured all the time. And for those of you, that's why I did it. I knew me. I get sucked in easily. So I left, and that was the best thing I ever did. But then I was also asked to come back. But I go through what you go through. Sex, drugs, rock and roll, the whole bit. And we don't lie, we don't deceive, we don't do charlatanism. None of it. It's just straightforward, and I don't act like a guru. I'll stop wearing white next week. Okay? We don't do any of this stuff around here. It's just straightforward, and you can ask whatever you want, question everything. Deal? So karma, cause and effect, but the cause and effect of what? Movements of the mind. Whose mind? Husband or wife? Boyfriend or girl, whose mind is it that's going to experience the cause? This type of thought, you get it? Cause, this type of speech, this type of action will produce a what type of result?
Similar.
Similar. We good? So for people who have lots of money, last question, then we're done. If you got a lot of money and you see someone with a lot of money and and you see them lying, cheating, and stealing, do you conclude, my big test question, do you conclude that the result, them having abundance in their life, came from lying? From now on, came from stealing, came from screwing people over? Is that your conclusion? I just want to know if you've got anything out of tonight. Where did that stuff come from? Where did all their abundance come from? Prior similar what? Causes. So at some point they did what? They were generous. I want you to leave with something good tonight. They were generous. Generosity produces abundance. Stealing produces what? Pain and suffering. Consequences. What type of consequences? Similar. So when you see someone, know that they did something good, and you can always feel bad because they are losing that ability to have that stuff. That's what you want to know. They are losing their ability to see themselves with abundance. That's what you want to know. And you just got to get really simply for tonight that the world that you are experiencing comes from where? The movements, why you think about yourself in the way that you do. And that's going to be our introductory class. It only gets better. And I'll be providing lots and lots of proofs for what I talked about tonight. This is just a general introduction. So, 3 principal paths, just in review. What are they in English? Correct view. Excellent. Okay, and what are we on? We are on the stages of the path to, I forget, what's the guy, this guy came from India, he went to Tibet, what's his name? Atisha, right? And then who's our commentator for our text? His Holiness the Dalai Lama, 14th Dalai Lama of Tibet. Yeah. And then you get me to try to help you discern all of this stuff in plain English in America in 18 now? All right. So we good? Questions, thoughts before we stop for tonight? There's a donation bowl out there. You don't have to use it. We're not going to pass it around at all. You know it's there, right? How much does this class cost? 0. Yeah. We do things by conscience. We do things according to your means, what you got out of this, how you feel about this, and you want to support this. That's it. And in so doing, you will be creating your world or not creating a world. But in one way or another, this is all up to you. Our community functions like this. We have a huge budget. We have communities all over the place. And you want to help us teach, you want to help us get this message out, which is basically emotional and personal responsibility, taking total charge of your life and no screwing around, which is not some motivational talk, right? Meditation every week, every day. If you want to do teacher training, love to have you. How much does teacher training cost? How many thousands? How much does it cost here? Doesn't cost anything. We give you a seasoned professional to work with who's devoting themselves every week to talking to you if that's what you want to do. So if you're in, love to have you. And if not, it's great to meet you. And I'll mill around here for a few minutes, but love to have you. Let me take this off, see if there's questions out in internet land. You guys can also hear, and we'll get you going. How's this thing work? I just hit the button? I don't know how it works. This is my wife to be. Nope.
Can they unmute themselves?
You'll need to unmute yourself if you want to ask a question. Do you guys have any questions out here? Anything at all? No? Did I scare you? A little bit? Really? Huh?
Not anymore.
All right. Okay.
It will unmute them all.
Well, let's do it another time. If you've got questions, just please email me or message. We'll figure this out for next week. Okay, so hands together, please. We dedicate the merit at the end. I'd like you to think of someone you know who could use this message. Think of them, someone who's suffering physically, mentally, emotionally. Blames themselves, blames others, blames the world for everything. They're hurt. And they don't know where it came from, and they don't know how to stop it. And that's what you've learned tonight, how to begin to put an end to this. We're on a path here to enlightenment. Think of someone you know. Think of whatever it is you picked up, any jewels tonight. Every now and then I say something useful. Think of that person you know who's suffering. You can inhale and exhale and just imagine. Just the power of imagination we call luminosity, luminous potential. So that person can hear you. And I advise you to not keep anything, any knowledge for yourself, but to share it with others. This is not about you. This is about something bigger than you. We were literally trying to change our world, one person at a time. And by this merit, may all obtain awakening. May defeat the enemy, wrongdoing, from the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of samsara. May I free all beings. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming all the way out of here. Next week, if you want to come a little bit early, we invite you to come at 6 o'clock, bring food for yourself and to share with others. We do that every evening, every Tuesday at 6 o'clock. We all will be we have a movie theater here as well, starting a Dharma movie night one of these weeks coming up. So every week we'll watch some Dalai Lama movie or Thich Nhat Hanh or whomever. If you want to come out and bring some popcorn, don't bring anything else. You guys know the name. So this is a Dharma center, so we don't do sex, drugs, and rock and roll here. Okay. So and don't take what doesn't belong to you. Respect everyone's property, please. Okay. And watch yourself on the way out. Love to have you join us. If you need any information you can't get online, you can't figure out how social media works. Please, any of the young people here will be happy to help you out. Okay. All right. We have a really cool community. People who would love to help you. So thanks for, let me get, no, this class is not closed yet. We'll keep it open for a few more weeks so people can catch up. The previous course, the Introduction to Mindfulness, is online. It's on my Facebook pages. If you're not friends with me, go ahead and friend me. And you can watch how I weave all the spiritual stuff with my crazy worldly life. And I am a little wild child, as most of you know, and I love to have a good time, but this is first and foremost in my life. And this is what we weave and blend together. And but love to have you join us on our trips. We have just fantastic trips to Tibet, India, Nepal, Thailand, you name it. And we have a great time. It's not a normal group by any means. This is a serious group of really educated. Almost everyone here, I can tell you, look around the room for a second, really good-hearted, been through the ringer, the ups and downs of life, educated, made their money, lost it, made it back. I mean, everyone here has just got a story to tell. You're in a midst of a great group of people. So thanks for being here. Yeah. Take care.
Okay.